Welcome to Africantales HQ. Once upon a time, in a small village in Africa, there lived a widow named Mama Zuri. She had 2 children, Ayo and Simi, who she loved very much. But times were tough. Mama Zuri's husband had passed away and she worked hard every day, doing odd jobs to buy food for her children. One morning, as the sun rose and the roosters crowed, Mama Zuri heard a knock on her door. It was a tall man dressed in fine clothes. He smiled and said, "Mama Zuri, I have heard of your struggles. There is a wealthy man in the next village who needs a helper. He will pay you well, and you will never have to worry about feeding your children again." Mama Zuri's heart leaped with joy. "Thank you," she said. "When can I start?" "Come with me now," the man said. "The job is waiting." Without thinking twice, Mama Zuri wrapped her shawl around her shoulders, kissed her children goodbye, and followed the man. The journey was long and quiet. They walked past forests, rivers, and hills. As the sun began to set, Mama Zuri noticed they were heading into a dark, unfamiliar forest. She grew nervous and asked, "Are we close to the village?" The man's smile faded. "We're almost there," he said, his voice cold. Suddenly, out of the shadows, 4 more men appeared. They grabbed Mama Zuri and tied her hands behind her back. She screamed, but no one was around to hear her cries. Before Mama Zuri could say anything, one of the men threw a sack over her head, and everything went dark. She screamed and kicked, but they were too strong. "Let me go," she cried. But they didn't listen. They carried her to a small, dark hut deep in the forest. Inside the hut, Mama Zuri heard the men whispering about her fate. "She'll make a perfect sacrifice," one of them said. "Yes," another agreed. "But first, we must turn her into a goat. No one will ever know." Mama Zuri's heart pounded like a drum. "What are you talking about? Let me go," she begged. But the men ignored her. They lit candles and chanted strange words. Suddenly, a thick smoke filled the room. Mama Zuri felt dizzy, her body tingling all over. When the smoke cleared, she looked down and screamed, or at least she tried to. Instead of words, all that came out was a loud. Mama Zuri had been turned into a goat. The men tied a rope around her neck and left her outside the hut, planning to use her in their evil ritual later. Mama Zuri, now a goat, was terrified. She didn't know how to escape or how to tell her children what had happened. Days passed, and one night, the rope around her neck became loose. Mama Zuri saw her chance. She pulled and pulled until the rope slipped off. Then she ran as fast as her goat legs could carry her. She ran through the dark forest, her hooves thudding against the ground, until she reached a busy market. The market was full of other goats being sold for Christmas feasts. Mama Zuri blended in, hoping the kidnappers wouldn't find her. One sunny morning, a man named Mr. Ade came to the market with his daughter, Fola, to buy a goat for Christmas. "This one looks healthy," Mr. Ade said, pointing to Mama Zuri. "She's perfect, Papa," Fola said, clapping her hands. Mr. Ade paid the seller and Mama Zuri was taken to their home. The family was excited about their Christmas goat. They tied her in the backyard and fed her sweet yams and fresh water every day to fatten her up. Mama Zuri was grateful for the food, but she was also scared. She knew they were planning to eat her on Christmas Day. Of all the people in the family, Little Fola loved the goat the most. She would sit with it for hours, talking and playing. "You're such a pretty goat," Fola said one morning as she patted its head. "I wish you didn't have to be eaten." Mama Zuri wanted to speak, to tell Fola the truth, but she was afraid. She didn't know if the little girl would believe her. As Christmas Day drew closer, Mama Zuri grew desperate. One early morning, before the sun had risen, Fola sneaked out to the backyard to say her final goodbye. "I'll miss you, goat," Fola whispered, her eyes filled with tears. Mama Zuri couldn't hold back any longer. She took a deep breath and said, "Please help me." Fola jumped back, her mouth wide open. "Did you just talk?" "Yes," Mama Zuri said. "I am not really a goat. I am a woman who was turned into this form by evil men. Please, Fola, you have to help me." Fola's eyes were as big as saucers. "You are a woman? How can I help you?" "Go to the village elder," Mama Zuri said. "Tell him what I told you. He knows how to break curses. But hurry, if your family kills me, I'll be gone forever. My children will never see me again." Fola ran back into the house and woke her father. "Papa, Papa, the goat spoke to me," she cried. Mr. Ade frowned. "Fola, don't tell me stories so early in the morning." "I am not lying, Papa," Fola insisted. "She's not a goat. She's a woman under a curse." At first, her father laughed. "A talking goat? You must be dreaming, child. Come and see for yourself," Fola insisted. When her father came outside, Mama Zuri spoke again. "Please help me return to my children." The father's eyes widened. "This is no ordinary goat." Mr. Ade agreed to take her to the village elder. They brought the goat along, and when they reached the elder's hut, Fola begged him to listen. "Elder, please," Fola said. "This goat is a woman. She told me so herself." The elder looked at the goat closely. "There is something strange about this animal," he said. He muttered a prayer, and suddenly a bright light filled the room. When it faded, Mama Zuri was standing there human again. Fola and her father gasped. "It's true," Mr. Ade exclaimed. Mama Zuri fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. Thank you for saving me." The village elder told the story of the evil men who had cursed Mama Zuri. The villagers worked together to find and punish them, making sure they could never harm anyone again. Mama Zuri was reunited with her children, Ayo and Simi, who cried tears of joy when they saw their mother. As for Fola and her family, they decided to celebrate Christmas in a new way that year. Instead of eating a goat, they invited Mama Zuri and her children to a big feast. From that day on, Mama Zuri never trusted strangers, offering jobs too good to be true. She also became a storyteller, sharing her tale with everyone in the village to warn them about the dangers of greed and evil.
The end. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, kindly share your thoughts by commenting, support me with the super thanks, like and subscribe. See you in my next video.